about Jesus in the Bible, he is not like Mr. Rogers hanging on a cross. He is not like Bob Ross, just telling nice little platitudes. He is somebody who's not to be messed with. And we're gonna actually talk about that. Jesus himself said that we are to be innocent as doves, but shrewd as serpents. We're called to be lambs, but we're also called to be lions. And there's definitely a way that we're called to be that, but we are called to be that. And so, I want you to think about that. We're not just called to be good, we're not called to be safe.
Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about motivation. This is episode 4, so welcome to episode 4 of College Cutting. This is one of the videos that I promised I was going to put out for you guys, and so this is something that I think is going to help you a lot because I get asked a lot about, how do I stay motivated, do the day-to-day things, the daily things that it takes to continue to see progress, things like that. And this is, in the College Cutting series, but I think it's going to help translate to a lot of things in life or any really fitness goal, not just, cutting. So hopefully you guys get something out of it, and without further ado, let's just jump in. So first of all, I want to talk about, motivation, and to me, there's a big difference between motivation, which I would say is like the reason people start things, the reason people get into things, and so, a lot of people, their motivation to start, for guys, usually it's like to impress a girl or something like that, or, maybe you just got out of shape. In a lot of instances, people, go to college or start a new job or get into a relationship and they just kind of, put fitness on the back burner, or, they're not working out every day at high school with, sports or whatever, and so then they kind of notice that they put on a few pounds or something, and they get that motivation to start working out again. So that is how I kind of define motivation. And there's a big difference between motivation and discipline. And I want to kind of talk about discipline because that is the day-to-day stuff. That's the stuff that, even when you don't want to, you get up and you go, work out, go do your cardio, go, cook that meal that's healthy rather than going, somewhere and getting a big burger and fries or something like that, or a milkshake. Discipline is what is going to ultimately carry you through your processes and get you the results that you're looking for. But just kind of a few things that I want to share about, fitness is, it's not always like fun. I've shared on Instagram how many hours a week I spend in the gym, and right now, especially on this cut, it's been probably 20. Like, a lot of people work 20 hours a week, and first of all, I want to kind of like talk about, I still work about 20 hours a week, and I still commit probably 10 hours a week to YouTube and editing videos and stuff, and then 5 to 10 hours a week working on AG, designs, content, all that stuff, pressing it out. Anyway, so it ends up being really, really busy and piling up, and people a lot of times say they don't have the time, but I promise you, if you take a look at the time that you're spending watching Netflix or laying in bed chilling or scrolling social media, you've got the time. You just need to set it apart and dedicate that to fitness goals or life goals, your job, whatever, if you want to be successful. So there's my little spiel on that. But anyways, it's not always fun, and it's not always something that I want to do. I mean, even me who's prepping for a show and has to do this stuff, it's not always, this hasn't been the most fun period of my life. I think it's cool, the science behind it and how I've had to push myself and everything. But it's not, I don't want to wake up on a Sunday morning and go do an hour and a half of fasted cardio before I can eat anything. Like, that's not a super enjoyable thing, I don't think, for anyone. No one would really like that. But I do it because, I've built up that discipline to know what I have to do to achieve the results that I want. And that leads me into my next point, which are results. And so one big kind of motivator for me to keep going have always been the results. So this is why I stress that you need to know what you're doing or follow a specific plan, because results in general are the biggest motivator for anyone. And that's why I always tell people when they're starting out, or whenever I give them a program or a meal plan or macros or whatever, stick to it for, I always give them a number of 3 weeks. Because within 3 weeks, if you're a beginner especially, and you're following, some type of structure, you will see your first results. And for a lot of people, I know for me, those first results are what are like, okay, like, that was worth it. That was, getting up early and going to the gym, that was worth it. And that's pretty cool that I see an extra vein today, or I see an extra, a little bit of a pump in my chest or something like that. That is a big time motivator for people. So sticking with something and staying committed for 3 weeks, I always say, is like the minimum you need to see those first results. And a lot of times people get hooked on those. But like I said, the results are the fun part. The hard part is sticking with that, so you can continue to see results, time and time again. And you also obviously have to switch up your workouts and things like that to continue to see that stuff. But, it takes time. And especially after you get out of that beginner stage, your gains, the different phases of fitness, whether it be bulking or cutting or whatever you kind of have your goals in, they take time. And it's going to be a lot more incremental than it was whenever you first started out. And so you got to kind of fall in love with the process of getting to those results, and that's where the discipline comes in, the day-to-day stuff. And I think that one of the big things is, if you've got that kind of motivation but you haven't started yet, I think getting started is something that would be a really helpful topic to kind of dive into, because one of my biggest pet peeves is people, they'll ask me for advice, or they'll be kind of talking to me about fitness because they know I'm into fitness, and they'll say, I've started kind of getting my diet on point, but this summer I'm really gonna get it on point, or next week I'm really gonna get into it, or yeah, I started kind of doing a little bit of cardio here and there and working out a while back, but here in a month or two I'm gonna get into it for real. And I'm always kind of sitting there like, it really grinds my gears, because I know how much dragging your feet is going to hurt progress, because once you take that extra day and you're like, oh, I'll start tomorrow, there's a conversation that goes on in your head, and there's your disciplined voice, and then there's kind of your weak-minded voice. That's the voice that tells you, yeah, you can sleep in, you can press snooze on the alarm, you can grab that extra donut or something, like you did good today, or you can skip that class. You went to both your classes last week. You can skip it this time. It's not going to be a big deal. It's stuff like that's the weak voice. But you're always going to have this kind of fight in your head, especially with fitness, as far as should I get one more rep, or should I do my cardio today? Do I really need it? Is it that big of a deal? I ate good today, so I shouldn't have to finish it off or anything like that. And that's the conversation that you have to get yourself to win. And so ultimately, whenever you're getting started, you're going to have that voice that's like, okay, you can start next week. Your schedule's going to be clearer. Other factors that are going on, it's going to be more conducive of getting into it for real. Or next week I'm going to run out of this grocery, and so I'll be able to really go get my diet on point and go get the groceries I need to be healthy. Stuff like that, whereas if you get started now, you're that much closer to achieving your goals. And although it may seem like you can start next week and it's not going to make a huge difference, the longer you put it off, the longer it is to keep prolonging that starting point. But also, you don't realize how fast you can get the results that you want whenever you actually commit and are winning those conversations in your head. And winning those inner conversations is really where you build up your discipline. And I can't stress enough how important this is. I've talked about test days on my Instagram and stuff, and I think I mentioned it in a couple of videos, but test days are where you have those big conversations in your head. It's hard to get out of bed, you don't want to, your body feels a little heavier than normal, the blankets are a little heavier than normal, you might be sore, something like that, but you are those days are ultimately what are going to define you. And you feel so much better whenever you do win those conversations in your head and are making the decisions that are going to help you out, making those decisions that are going to actually benefit you, because you've won. It gives you a victory for the day, and ultimately it actually reprograms what's happening in your head to allow you to win and have more of those thoughts that are going to actually make you progress, be successful in anything you do, not just fitness, but in life in general. And so if you start winning those conversations in fitness, that may translate to your diet. So do I really need that? Should I get that extra donut or get that extra serving of fries or something like that? And you're like, no, I did a good job today. I already did my cardio. Why would I mess up my cardio session for an extra few fries? Well, that doesn't make any sense. No, I don't need that. And so you win that one. And then it's like, it's going to translate over into your job or your schoolwork or something. Do I really need to study tonight? Why would I sacrifice a test score just to save a few minutes or a few hours of Netflix time? With stuff like that's going to translate over and help you, in the rest of your life. And so focus on these inner conversations, because whenever you start looking for them and actually identifying them, you're going to be able to make that decision a lot more consciously and realize that this is a phenomenon that everybody has to deal with. So the last kind of thing that I think people struggle with getting started is, what are people going to think of me, or what are my friends going to think of me, other people at the gym, things like that. And this is something that everyone struggles with, and I think it's important for you guys to know that. Anybody that may be thinking about starting out, and it's something that I struggled with. I would consider myself kind of the skinny fat kid getting into the gym. I really didn't have a lot of muscle mass at all. you know, a lot of the friends that I was lifting with were bigger than me and stronger than me and all that type of stuff. And so I know it's not easy. And guess what? That's the beauty of it is, you know, unless you're just a freak of nature, nobody walks into the gym and is, you know, has a godlike physique or is super, super strong. You know, some people are naturally stronger than others. And that's going to happen with anything in life. Some people are naturally going to be more gifted and things like that. But nobody walks in, you know, even at a fraction of their, you know, full potential. And that's what's really cool about it. And so everyone that you walk in, you know, looks intimidating or looks like they've, you know, they're regulars or whatever. Everybody started off on that at that kind of level 1, you know, status. And you can't compare your level 1 to their, you know, level 5 or 6, or somebody's been lifting 5-6 years, seeing a lot of results and in progress and all that stuff. And you've got to realize that everyone's got that starting point. And so, you know, if you're like me and you're that kind of skinny kid that, you know, wants to get in the gym and put on some muscle and look bigger, you can't do that without getting in the gym. And so you have to get over those hurdles and that mental barrier of, what are people thinking of me when they look at me, or things like that, and, you know, get into the mindset of, this is necessary, I have to take this step. And honestly, you know, I think it's awesome whenever I see people that haven't really, you know, you can tell maybe this is their first few times, they maybe look a little bit uncomfortable. I think it's awesome. You know, it shows that they're taking a step to better themselves, and that's what the gym's all about. That's what fitness is all about. And so just know that, you know, a lot of people are rooting for you, even though if it's silent. You know, I try to go and try to make them more comfortable. If I notice something like that, you know, compliment their outfit, or compliment their, you know, headphones or something like that. You know, just maybe make them a little more comfortable. But you know, a lot of people are rooting for you, whether it be your friends and family, or just other people in the gym. We understand, you know, that people are all starting out at different levels, and no one's gonna compare, you know, someone who has been lifting for a while like me, which I haven't even been lifting for a while. I mean, 2 years, 3 years. But no one's gonna be looking at you comparing weights or thinking, you know, you're not big enough or anything like that, because we all understand we all started there too. So don't think that too much about that stuff. I've been in that situation a lot of times in my life. I mean, that's the same situation I was in whenever I was thinking about you know, sharing content and stuff like that, as far as, you know, Instagram, even posting, you know, my first tool pics. That's, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that it was a big deal for me, especially, I mean, those close to me know that I would post a picture in my tank top at the gym, a just picture with the little filter that said I was at the gym, and you know, that was a huge deal for me. I was so scared that people were gonna judge me for that and everything. And then finally I started saying you know what, this is something I'm passionate about, this is something I want to share, and you know, if people are judging you for it, or looking at you in a bad light because you're doing something you're passionate about, or trying to better yourself in some way, then, you know, I'm more worried about them than I am about you, because that's just that's not cool. And I actually had a situation that came up recently with one of my old buddies had texted me and said that someone had been talking about AG in a derogatory way at something that he was at recently, and making fun of him because he participated in a promotion that I recently ran, and he had a really cool perspective on it, which is the same perspective that I've got. But he talked about how, in the little text that he sent me, he talked about how, you know, he thought that was super cool, because whenever, you know, others, or those individuals that are super negative, they see you doing well, or see you, you know, following something you're passionate about, or seeing, you know, some level of success or kind of drive that they're not kind of accustomed to. Number one, a lot of times people will get, you know, kind of jealous or envious, and you know, try to push you down, or bring you down to their level. And number two, you know, they will try to basically justify why they're not doing it or seeing the results or becoming successful themselves. And that's super sad. I wish that everybody could find something that they're passionate about and feel fulfilled and motivated to do every day. Kind of like what I feel like I've found, because I'm super passionate about the message behind AG, and I'm proud of everything I've done with it so far. And I'm super passionate about fitness and helping people with that, because I know what it can do for people's lives and how it translates to life itself. So, kind of look at those people as a blessing, because it shows that they are trying to put their limits on you or bring you down and are jealous of what you're doing. But also look at them like kind of feel bad for them, because they don't have that in their life. They can't relate to what you're doing, and so you just gotta kind of discount them and not really think about them, because I promise, if you're doing something that you're passionate about and enjoying or trying to better yourself, then you're gonna have a whole lot more supporters than you do haters. So that's kind of my advice, my spiel on motivation. I hope you guys can get something out of it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know what to do: like, comment, subscribe to the channel, like the video, give it a thumbs up, or comment something if you guys if a topic came up that you're interested in or want to talk more about. I'd be happy to do that with you guys. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys that are watching, and I will catch you in the next vid. Thanks.